Hi, how you doing? Glad to be here. Yeah, I'm doing all right. I mean, I'm still recovering from surgery and that sorts of things. But on the up, so that's always nice, and should be nice to be able to actually just kind of have a chat and spectate some games and that kind of stuff.
Definitely. So let's see what we have ongoing here. The two games. I think we'll start off by having a quick peek at the two matches that is actually already going on. So many windows, so many things here. I think we're gonna start with this one. Let's see. Forced. They look like they're just starting the second half, right? Yeah. Modillo versus Biscuits. There seems to
I'll
be a
have a,
lot
have
of
a look at
orcs.
the game.
I think they look
Oh,
like
the
they
other
have.
game. Ooh, okay. So the other game is that's they're just starting their second half as well.
Yeah. So this one is still 0-0, so there should definitely be potential for some exciting end-game play here at some point. Should we jump back to the other one and see what's the score in the other one?
The other one is currently 1-1, and it's an underworld team that's mainly goblins, and they seem to have Morg.
Oh, it's also called the Hill,
Um,
so yeah. Oh,
um,
oh,
they had a block troll, but it seems to be casualtied, and Bomber Dribblesnot's also been casualtied. Um, but they do still have Morg, and it's basically a full goblin team. It looks like it's a stunty underworld team.
yeah. So what's your opinion about like the underworld since the nerf with the swarm?
Um, it's really weird because like the, I always hate saying this because like it just kind of makes sense, but it shouldn't. It's kind of the thing of when it comes to Underworld, when they had swarming, they didn't want to play Blood Bowl. They wanted to pick someone off and foul it, and then pick someone off and foul it, and eventually, yes, you'd kill some snotlings, but you just wouldn't have the players to necessarily be able to fight them
Yeah,
in like the second half. And now that they've not got swarming, it feels like that's the only way that people are playing them now. They're just like, I'm not fighting you at all anymore. I'm either going to run away for the whole half or I'm going to just double down on fouling. And then I'm going to go for the one turn. And it feels like there's like people have just kind of given up on it, like on actually just trying to actually play the game of Blood Bowl with them.
yeah, because I think they're sort of in a weird place now because you can either compare them to Black Orcs, which basically is I'll stump your team in when there's no players left, like you described, right? I'll make a touchdown because you can't stop me with 11 orcs on the field, and even if some of them are goblins, right? Versus if you have 6 or 5 players left because you've been fouled off the pitch, basically, right? But on the other hand,
Yeah.
you could also compare them to Chaos Renegades, which is again like this a mix of everything weird players, different races, animosity, and all that sort of thing, right? But whereas I personally think that the Renegades are closer to our world alliance in the sense that it's sort of like you are trying to make the strengths of the different races to work. Underworld, because they are so, at least right now, fouling necessary. Like, sorry about fouling. Let's see what happens here. Oh, he stays on the pitch, right? That you sort of need to foul your way through everything, right? You also have, of
It's
course,
really
yeah,
so. If you remember all the way back to Blood Bowl 2,
yeah,
Underworld, they weren't as reliant on fouling. They did lean into the murder because obviously you could get a claw palm and all that nonsense. Um, but they didn't really rely on fouling. They did rely a little bit on casualties and that kind of thing because they didn't have the gutter runner. I think the addition of the gutter runner has just kind of enforced the way of thinking of like well, I don't have to play because I have a gutter runner.
Yeah.
It's just kind of not ruined the team because obviously like having a gutter runner is great. It makes the team so much better, but it does kind of make it so that people are more willing to play in a very, very boring way.
I think the Gutter Runner sort of suffers the same issue as the Dark Elf on the Renegades, right? The Renegade, your game's going to center very much around your Dark Elf because he's going to be the ball carrier. But having only 6 in movement, you can't do the same magical tricks as you can with a Gutter Runner with movement 9 and right.
Yeah. Well, at least not until you've played about 15, 20 games and he's got movement 8. Then
Of course, I have seen a lot of Dark Elves on Renegade teams that looked awful lot like a Gutter Runner. 2 heads, dodge block, 2 extra
movement
movement,
8
right? Yeah.
gone.
Yeah. Then compared to the Gutter Runner, he even has strength 3, right? Instead of movement 8 to 9. I'd rather have that. But I think it's sort of sad because I think for the meta of what teams are viable, I think it's a shame that Underworld has become nerfed in such a way that they still don't really function at this point. At least it's my.
Yeah, I still think that like when it comes down to it, Underworld can still cheeky one die pow. Underworld can still do stuff.
Oh yes.
It's just that they, I don't know. It feels like if you want to play them like optimally, and I hate that word. I hate it so much.
Yeah. I think for me it's also they like if you compare them to normal goblins and halflings, right? You are for better and worse living and dying by your inducements, right? You are expecting to have some inducements, or quite often quite a lot of inducements, as you can also see here, right? That will make up the difference. Like I see sort of like that for the meta because it means also that you can be more adaptive to what you're playing against. Whereas if you have a team that is not like undead, for example, they're not maybe the quickest of skilling, and so you commit to a path and you will be on that, and you can't really adapt that much for the current game you're playing. Whereas if you're inducements, you could either like what star player, what wizard, or like what are you picking? Because you will win or lose by picking the right inducements.
Yeah, I mean, so weirdly enough, from all of the people that have been, going on about star players and all this other stuff,
Yeah.
like I was thinking to myself, like, which star players are people kind of going on about? Obviously, people are going on about bombers. We're just going to skip over bombers because they're kind of just ludicrous, aren't they?
A separate thing. Let's just call them a separate thing and leave it at that.
Yeah, but like I've seen people using a little bit of Griff. Seen people using, as you can see in this game, you can see Morg getting played. One of the stars that I don't see very often, and that I thought would actually have like a fair bit of impact was Hackflem.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen a single Hackflem, and especially for a team like Underworld, like if you're going to carry the ball on like a gutter runner or even the thrower, like if you can, like there's a lot of stuff you can do with the Hackflem special rule.
Yeah, I'm actually also very surprised because he has basically all the right skills, right?
Yeah, the only thing he's essentially missing is just block.
Yeah. But then he would also be able to do more or less outpace everything else. And what is it, 200 and something? 230? Can't remember.
I think it's 230, but like I mean he's got what? He's got dodge, he's got like I think he's got 2 heads, he's got prehensile tail, strength 3.
Yeah.
Like
he's the gutter runner from hell, basically, right?
yeah, he's absolutely like, and then like if you've got him like on like the edge of a cage on like the far edge, and you can just kind of use a special rule, he's like, right, that ball's mine, and then he just legs it off.
Yeah. I think a lot of players. So for example, like here we have Underworld, right? They have their own government to begin with, so you probably inclined to think that you don't need a second. But for a team like Chaos Renegades, right, having access to a Movement 9 piece all of a sudden is gonna make a huge difference. Also for a lot of other teams, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
Yeah.
Like there's teams out there that could really just. I'm not entirely sure
I think
which teams get access
no,
to.
I don't remember either. Because I would definitely think something like Blackhawks would love to have access to something like that.
Yeah, it's not Badlands Brawl. It's I don't think
Let's see if Google can help me here.
it's not. It can't just be Underworld Challenge, surely, or something like that.
I think I actually have a bookmark for all the stalkers.
I've got an app on my phone. I'm just checking. See if I
And you'll
can get
probably
there
find it before
before you.
me.
Okay, here we go. Right, so plays for any of the Chaos teams, basically. If any of the favored ofs and Underworld Challenge.
Yeah. So you can't play for the Blackhawks.
No,
No.
but can play for Nurgle.
Well, gee, 6 movement on like what is it, 4 pieces or 1 movement with 9? That definitely probably does make a difference. Also because it basically removes all the issues that Nurgle has, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, obviously, eventually you're gonna get yourself a movement 8 like ball carrier anyway. But like I think if you're it's actually Hack Flame's actually 210, not 230.
Oh, even better.
But yeah, like I mean, I think I guess maybe the issue that people are finding with Hack Flame is, they want the SPP
Yeah,
elsewhere.
I generally find like classic one is like uh, taking Griff or taking. Oh, ouch.
Or there goes the ball.
Yeah, everything is play now. I think Watakinian is also a fairly, to be fair, very good player. So I'm not surprised that he's.
I mean, let's be real. It's an all goblin team basically. Like it's not really going anywhere. And
I'll
they've kind of
generally say so. I would never have gone for a toll, but that's personal taste. Like I would definitely gone for that rogue, right? But once you lose your big guy as an underworld team, you say that he's under pressure.
I mean,
Oh,
if I,
fair pick.
I'm oh double one. That's horrible. If I'm looking at the inducements, right, there's like at minimum, because we weren't there for the first half. Minimum 100,000 spent on bribes.
Yeah,
Minimum 380 on Morg.
yeah. And a bummer. So that's 50 more.
Then the 50k on Bomber. So that's like what?
500 something.
Math 530.
530, yeah.
I
I
mean,
generally try not to do math when there's a recording device anywhere near me.
So for 530, well, the goblins are just going to get massacred now. Let's be real. But
Yeah, there's
for
like what is
530,
it, like 5 pieces left on something on the board at this point?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. And one. I don't think Morg in this scenario was the good pick if you're aiming
No.
just strictly for a win.
No. I would. My experience with Morg is generally always that he is fun to have, but he never makes his cost in. Like it's actually mostly if you just want to, for some reason, you don't like your opponent and you want to hurt him, he's a good choice. But other than that, like he's not a good choice. Because
He's great whenever my opponent picks it.
Yeah, because you're sinking so much value into it.
Oh yeah, I know. Like he has to cas like half a team, like he has to cas like 3-4 players
Yeah,
to be like worth it.
yeah, and also preferably fairly quick.
Yeah, needs to be like first half. Like I played against a Morg earlier on in the season, and that Morg was just like every single thing it touched, just my
Oh,
team was just getting just. It wasn't anything bad, but it was just every single time Morg touched something, it got turned to dust,
yeah,
and I was just like, well, I'm gonna have to just keep putting stuff in Morg's way because if I don't put stuff in Morg's way, he's gonna hit the good stuff. And
yeah,
I just kept like going, right, there's a lineman, and then he'd like blitz the lineman to get himself free, just like kill the lineman, move into a more annoying position, and be like, right, lineman, you go mark Morg. All right, I'm gonna run away from him now. It's just every time he's just deleting a lineman.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, like if I was aiming for the victory here, Hackflem would be definitely on the table as the Goblins don't have a normal gutter runner as they're an all Goblin team.
Yeah,
Like,
also
just
especially
if you think,
it would allow you to
imagine
move
this, imagine
ball.
this game with Hackflem, a wizard, a bomber, and some bribes. Like,
Yeah, that would do magic. And that's like I said, what my biggest problem with Morg is that he's so expensive that he can't more or less recover that cost. And
no, he
with
can't.
and I think Mighty Sorg and Griff Overworld, it's all the same. Why I think you see a lot like there's also of course a price difference, but Sorg isn't gonna steal your touchdowns, VPs, and in that sense, people are more inclined to pick him. I generally find because the touchdown star player points you really want to keep, right? But sometimes you need that player to do that magic of are you focusing on winning or are you focusing on building team, basically, right?
Yeah, I have had it once where my opponent was just like, I kicked the ball to them, and they got like a touchback, and they basically was like, okay, Morg, you could have the ball, and I was like, oh no, I can't get the ball off Morg,
Yeah.
and that was a bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, okay. And he does pick up on 3+. So having played Chaos Dwarf for quite a bit, like you were quite often willing to do a 4+ pick on a Bull Centaur. That's sort of like the name of the game, right? Quite
Yeah.
often. So but
Well,
but
that's it, isn't it? Like if you got the strength 4 on Chaos Dwarves with the ball, it's really difficult to get even one dice. And then
also
just imagine that with Morg, he's strength 6 with block. You're never getting one dice on him.
yeah,
It's
but
just not
at
happening.
least often the Bulls and Towers would have break tackle, right? So they would be back then disengaging on 2+, which made them a lot more mobile.
Yeah, they got quite a heavy nerf in this edition with the break tackle change.
Oh yeah, I think this game is basically over. I think we should maybe switch over to
Yeah,
the other.
we can move on from this one, I think.
I would say there needs to be a Nuffle upset at this point for to predict the result at least. That's definitely.
I'll keep a little eye on it, just in case the goblins decide to pull something out of their ass, but I doubt it at this point.
Yeah. This seems like a brawl.
Let's have a look. Oh god, it looks like a meat cube.
This reminds me of how I used to play when I started playing Ball. You just push all the players into this big pile and you just hope that the dice eventually go your way.
I've had oh god. I like those are the types of opponents that I really just I don't want to play. Like just don't shove your whole team into me. Like I don't want that. Like because that not only does that I have to use brain power, which I don't want to do, especially on stream.
Yes.
But like, I'm literally just at the mercy of like, do I have enough players with block, and is the dice going to screw me?
Oh
Because
yes.
I'll hit them over and over and over, but will they actually break?
Yeah.
Can I actually get rid of them?
And I generally find, especially like if you are like playing like something soft with teams like Wood Elves or something like that, you don't really want to be tacked on all your players all the time because eventually you will run out of duels, and your armor will only carry you so far. And if you are playing guns, like in this case Orcs, right, they have an armor that will probably make them sustain the onslaught of the whole match.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think the most memorable game. Ooh, roll the one.
Oh,
The most memorable game of this I kind of had was um, I was playing. It was like the end of season 3, and it was literally the last week of the season, and I'd just finished a team, and I was like, I don't actually know what I'm gonna play. Um, so I basically my chat was like, you should play roller dwarves. Roller dwarves are fun. So I ended up playing some roller dwarves, and then I had like 3 guard players,
yeah.
and my opponent was Chaos Chosen, and
Oh,
first skill they chose um, claw on everything,
of course.
and like not even mighty blow, just straight up claw, and I was like, oh, okay, fine, all right.
Oh.
Um, and basically they just went, all right, here's my entire team of claw in your face, and I was like, ah, great, okay. Oh no, I got a couple of 2Ds, couple of 1Ds. It was just like a couple of goats had left the field, and then a couple of dwarves was leaving the field, and I was like, oh god, it's a race to the bottom. This sucks. I just have to
Oh
hope
yeah.
that I just have to hope that my claw doesn't fail me.
I actually had a matchup like that not so long ago, like last month. I had a chaos team that had like claw, mighty blow, block and that was the order on all his players, any and all of them. And most of them had at least 2, and some of them had all 3 skills, right? And I was like, my dwarves are basically now wood elves that are trying to pretend to be able to fight their way out of this. And through some luck, I will also admit, like that it helps you get the blitz, and that the bomber starts doing magic. Otherwise, I would have been minced meat
Yeah,
because as a dwarf or an orc player, you are paying for your armor, and when that disappears, you are clearly a
you're in
disadvantage.
trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was so I oh god, I'm gonna make you cringe here. So I was playing more dwarves this season. Um, but it was armbar dwarves, and
But why?
I was a challenge team from that my so on my stream I have a channel point reward,
Yeah.
and if you redeem it, you can tell me what to play. Um, and oh my, went for the pickle. That's spicy.
I would have accepted the failed pickup. Like the fact you got both the ball out and everything.
Yeah, I know. Also,
You,
like, I mean, they had a blitzer. Like, they have a blitzer free as well
yeah, I
in the
don't
middle of the field. Like,
yeah.
no, that's
Or
unfortunate.
was that just freed after the? I think you might have blocked and then became free.
No, that blitzer was free the entire half, that entire section. Like,
Wow.
they just didn't move it. But yeah, the so the when I was playing the armbar dwarves, I obviously realized like when I was down strength,
Yeah.
I was really down strength.
Yeah.
Um, and it was miserable at times.
Oh
Like
yeah.
playing against orcs, and I think I played against like some meta orcs, and I was like, oh, this is horrible. And then I played against lizards the next game, and was like, oh, this is horrible as well.
Yeah.
I got saved in the lizard game though. I had I think I had 60,000, so I picked up Cindy and was like, right, well, let's see if Cindy can win me a game. And I threw a bomb and I KO'd a Saurus, a Croxagore, and a Skink in one bomb. And I was like, right, that's my drive done. I'm golden. Like, they can't defend against me anymore.
Jesus.
I just
Yeah.
kind of walked it down, and then it still ended up as a draw because I was dwarves, and I couldn't actually like stop them from scoring because I didn't have any guard and I had all armbar.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was.
Yeah. I made it into the challenge the last 2 seasons with dwarves, so I probably have like a 150 plus matches in the last 2 seasons of dwarves. So, but I will admit, however, I don't think I had armbar on any of my players in either team.
It became a running meme in the channel as just like, can armbar actually do anything? And we had like a little kill tally going. I think in the end, I ended up killing two halflings, a goblin, a ghoul, and a orc blitzer that decided to dodge away and got armbarred and cast by the end of the run. So armbar did kill like 5 things.
But I'm just curious, like how many armbars did you have on the team? Was it like 1 or 10 or?
I think by the end, I think I had like 7.
So that's one of the things that sort of saddens me about like the skills are very much hit and miss how good they are. Like they're clearly skills that are better than others. Not even like disputable in frame of level, right? And I think it's sort of a shame that they are not. Like
Yeah, because you've got some skills that just make the player like ridiculously just so much better than what they were originally. Like you've got, your block, your wrestles, your dodge, your guard, mighty blow, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Then you've got the weird tier of skills which are like scaling. They start off kind of bad, but they scale well. Like Brawler scales very well. The higher TV you go, same with like defensive.
Yeah.
And then you've just got the really bad skills.
So defensive for me is a good example. Defensive is a skill that is, how to say, circumstantial, and both in when it's good or not, but also like you don't want a team with everyone having defensive. That doesn't really scale in that sense. And I don't have a problem.
You just want a few of them.
Yes, and I don't have a problem with that because that skill is still it's sort of like leader. Like you want a leader, you don't want 10 of them. But I don't have a problem with that because it's clearly still a viable skill. It is not a skill for all players, and that's perfectly fine. But there's just skills like armbar, for example. Like it's like, yeah, even if low TV, high TV, 1 or 10, or like there's just more or less no scenario where it's like, yes, this is something I would actually pick and pay 20 TK for, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's a sort of a shame because there's like fair enough. Not all skills can be guard. Not all skills can be blocking and dodge. But there needs to be also at least skills that's like at least you can use them.
Yeah, I think that's the main kind of just disappointment in some of the skills. Like I think some of the skills have like some like interesting ideas behind them, but just aren't worth picking up. And I'd kind of like to see GW in the future when they're making new teams, that kind of thing. Like put some of these gimmicks in there. Like I want to see a team that's like got a bunch of armbar.
Yeah.
Like as their gimmick.
Yeah. But like I'm not saying this is the right numbers, but like say like okay, armbar gives +2 to armor breaks and +1 to injuries. Maybe that is the amount of power, or maybe it needs to be +4 or something like that. At some point, I'm not expert in what number that is, but at some point it becomes viable. And I think the problem, and it's that sort of like, I understand why we nerfed the shit out of Pylon, but right now it's useless basically. And it's like one of the few skills, at least on the strength charter, where you basically go like, if you get this like that, that's just waste. But I'm not going to use this.
Yeah, like it. Yeah, it counting as a foul action, um, kind of killed it off. I think, um, with the because obviously piling on was. I mean, forget about like claw palm.
Yeah.
Oh, well, not claw palm, I guess. But forget about how good claw was. Forget about how good. Oh, look at this bit of running play from the orcs here.
They think they're elves and they're getting away with it.
Yeah. So forget about like mighty blow and claw stacking, right? Because
Yeah.
while that was very strong, I actually think that they might have went a bit too far with not keeping that aspect because
No,
obviously you've got orcs and undead being.
I think says the Chaos Dwarf player from Bubble 2 that it was the right decision. You could also argue then against that being Chaos Dwarf players that the company was for me the biggest change, the most important change was the fixing of Mighty Blow, because basically it became like a game of who was the first one to make two important removals, basically. Whoever got those two first removals would most likely win the rest of the match. And that was sort of not a very interesting game in most of the games because it became really random in that sense and very like the problem with ball, at least in my opinion, is also it's one of those games where things snowball. Like if I get an advantage, I just need to capitalize a little bit on that, and then that advantage will grow bigger and bigger, and there's no catch up really at any point, so it will just get worse. So if you get those two early good removals, you are set more or less for the match. So
Yeah, I actually like weirdly enough, like I don't mind claw mighty blow stacking like when it was for Blood Bowl 2 because obviously it was really strong, but the thing that broke it was the piling on because it was just a freebie for no reason.
Oh yeah, because more or less doubled your odds of doing everything. So
yeah, it was just ridiculous, really.
Yeah, I see that Phil has joined the call.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
How you doing, Phil?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. I thoroughly recommend Bewilderwood, by the way, if anybody lives in the Norwich or Cheshire area, because they've got two.
Cool.
Yeah, very good. I don't know if you've covered this, but I can't wait for this season to end. I just want to get shot of this bloody thing.
Well, we might have mentioned it a little bit earlier, saying that at least as the admins, there has been a lot of enjoyment out of the whole API and changes to seeding and all that sort of thing. So yes, that's that.
Yeah. I mean, at least Galentio gave me a star on my homework.
Yeah. that is key important.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm gonna have a look and see what other games, because I see you've got a conference game going on at the moment.
Yes. So
there's 3 more games going on.
Oh.
Yeah, so at the moment you've got quite a key game going on. Well, 2 key games going in the Altdorf West. So Just the Bullies playing Batgiller, and Scouse Boys playing Horde Master. Now both Scouse Boy and JB, they're both looking at promotion up to the Prem. I'm just jumping in to see. Now I've got Bomber on the screen at the moment. This might be worth actually going over to. They've only just started, so it's 0-0, but it looks like Scouse or Batgiller's taken Bomber Dribble Snot, which is everybody's favourite player.
Really, I wonder why.
Yeah, we've had a discussion about bombers already.
So I was actually thinking about this, as I'm sure you probably mentioned. I just think he's completely incorrectly priced. That's the only thing wrong with him. You don't need to ban him. You just need to price him rightly. I agree. Correctly. That's all you need to do.
I would then be the devil's advocate and say I think he's priced rightly.
He's a free wizard every turn.
I think the bigger issue is that he has accuracy. He should never have been given accuracy.
I'll be honest with you. I might even play the fence here. I think he's priced rightly for goblins. For everybody else, he's definitely not.
Well, I would then say, as someone who has played quite a bit of goblins, I would then argue against it, because if you look at a goblin team, right, you can buy a bomber, stock shelf off the shelf for 40,000, and then I can look at the other guy for 10,000 more. What do I get? I get a special rule, I get accuracy, and that's like that's probably the best 10k you can spend, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And it is even that bad that my goblin team generally don't buy a bomber, because basically not buying that bomber means that for 10k I get the other one instead, and I'd rather have that one.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like if you're gonna play a goblin team, what are you using a bomber for? Like you're just gonna use dribbles now. Like what?
Exactly.
That is your new positional player.
And like I said, I think for my problem is that he should not have been given accuracy, because that would also mean that even close bombs would only have been on a 3+. The
Well,
fact that
I've gone to just have a little look. So in the death zone rules, you've got Horatio. I'm not sure whether you know this. He's a fireball wizard, but what he does is he scatters 1d3. So wherever the target square is, it will scatter 1d3. So it's the normal rules for a fireball, but it scatters. Now that is 80k.
Yeah.
So it's a one-time use.
So it's a watered down wizard, basically.
It's a watered down wizard.
Yeah.
That is, it scatters, so it's not always accurate. Obviously, you've still got the 4+, which is essentially what a bomb does, right?
Yeah.
Interestingly, though, Backgiller has left bomber completely open he's got a nice block tackle guard blitzer that can come in and splat him on the next turn. So I would be surprised if Bomber's around very long in this game. But the Orcs have got the ball nice and caged up.
I'm super surprised at that. Like I thought that the big un with grab that's at the back, I don't understand why it's all the way over there. Like, why is it not in the front protecting Bomber? Screen it with the strength 4 and with the really bad lineman that wait a minute, that's not a is that a no, that's a journeyman blitzer. With the journeyman blitzer, and then just have Bomber protected. Unless they're using Bomber as bait, but
I mean possibly. I mean
But
that's what you could be using. You then know you're not having your cage attacked this turn. So it's just another turn. It's another turn where you're going to be potentially making forward progress. I also don't like the fact that they've got that nice frenzy orc. I mean, obviously got a frenzy. They've got a frenzy juggernaut blitzer. They've got another frenzy player off on the side. I would actually be trying to bring the ball down that side, just to try and link everything up. But it's tough to keep Bomber completely active and protected. I mean, here comes the blitz. This is exactly what I was expecting. He's got away with it. Push and skull, re-roll, and he got pow here.
So, like I say, I think from my point of view, the goblin or the bomber, basically, right?
Bomber's okay.
He's going to return and do more havoc, right? Is that you are also losing one of your pieces to bring him on. Like, compared to a wizard, you still have 11 strong pieces. Here you have 10 in a goblin, right? A goblin who needs protection, and a goblin who can blow off your own defensive line, or worst case, a bomb could get caught. Like a wizard can't be caught and returned into your face. I think, like I said, the biggest issue is that the accuracy compared to a normal goblin thrower, right? Is that accuracy, because it means that like at least the two closest zones becomes 3+ and 2+ instead of 4+ and a 3+.
Yeah, but I mean, you've got the it's also the special rule which means that, if the bomb's caught, it's going to blow up. I mean, he's definitely more powerful than Horatio, who's 80k. I'd argue.
Is Horatio a
I'd
star
make a
player
strong.
or a
No,
wizard?
Horatio's a wizard.
Yeah.
He's a wizard at 80k in the Death Zone rules. So I mean, it depends on the league you're playing in. So my tabletop league, they run a league that runs all the Death Zone rules, stadiums, all the inducements, and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm an Elven Union player, for example, or I'm going to be Wood Elves next season, if I've got 80k in my bank, 100% I'm going to take Horatio, 100%.
Yeah, but so would
Because if
I.
you think about it, on the scatter, on a D1, the ball carrier is being hit. On a D2, the edge of the cage is being hit, so you can at least get in and attack the ball carrier. It's a D3 where nothing happens. So basically, you've got a 3+, 4+, where you're going to have an opportunity on the ball for 80k.
Yeah, I would pick
I
the
mean,
same.
that's just really good. That's just really, really good. I
But
still think Bomber's better than that, because you get that every turn until he blows himself up
so
or gets sent off.
So, like, Electrik and I was talking about dwarves, because we both apparently played a fair bit of dwarves in the last season, and one of the problems I find when I induce like a Cindy, which is basically the same piece at the end of the day, right, is that
Yeah.
the biggest price that I'm actually paying for bringing them is not the 50k. It is that I have one less dwarf on the field. That is my problem. My problem is all of a sudden I have one piece less on the field that is usually one less block, one less guard. And in that matchup of losing that, I rather have a cheap wizard that is not a sacrificing of a dwarf on the field and paying 80k.
Yeah.
And then that's why, like I said, like for me, the biggest problem with the goblin is that with the accuracy, like the special rule for 10k compared to a normal goblin, I could have lived with that. Like for 10k, you get a special rule, cool, because you can look at it from a goblin's point of view. Then he's just like the normal goblin thrower from the goblin team, and no one is playing with him. So clearly, the problem is not the 40k for him. It is the fact that he's at, because it makes that difference between you are halving the odds of not hitting your target most turns, and that becomes a problem. So I think
I'm gonna flick the conversation briefly back to this turn.
Good idea.
Because no, it's only because I mean, I don't know if you saw it. I thought there was an opportunity to get a 1 dice block on the ball carrier there. I don't know whether JB still thinks he can do it, but because there was a free block on that big un, which was connected to the zombie, I'd have thrown in that Tomb Guardian, or whatever they call the mummy. See whether I can get it.
So you could have brought over the Wraith, right? And then you could have gotten a 2+ on it.
It's the zombie where you moved in front of that one that hasn't been activated. That kind of tanked it, because you'd have been taking a 1 dice. I'd have been doing that last, and I'd have been going, do you know what? If I get a push, or if I get a knockdown here, I'm totally okay with that, because then you could have come in with the ghoul there. I don't know where it's gone. You got that tackle, wrestle, dodge, ghoul. That's just going to dislodge the ball, and then you've just got half a chance to then throw players in and try and slow the orcs down. So I think there's a missed opportunity there. But anyway, sorry.
No, I think it's a keen observation. I think, at least from my point of view, I would have done so if I was an elf player in this game. I'm not sure I would as an undead. Because generally when I find...
You are talking to an elf coach who plays elves almost exclusively.
Oh, I know. And that's why, like I said, like as an elf player, you would have more or less guaranteed you would have gone for that choice, right? You gotta follow this. Push, that guy. No?
Oh, why that's interesting. I thought you would have put that into the Guardian there.
Yes.
Or into the Mummy.
Yeah.
And just slow it down. But I can see why JB's made that choice. It means you're not getting a block on the Mummy, because then the zombie is
but would he have
exposed.
had enough players for that? So if you are tying up right, that player here.
You got a guard blitzer behind.
So if you're tying this player up, and you still have all these two, so that's 6 players that you need to sort of maneuver that out with. You're not spending 2 players to get 2 dice on a mummy. And it's stand firm, so if he wants to 1 dice it, I would give him that. But that's what I would have done.
Yeah.
Going briefly back to the bomber situation, because obviously bomber was pretty bad in previous rule sets. And I feel like GW obviously, well, one wanted to sell a model,
Really?
but two, I feel like they just kind of missed the ball a little bit when they changed the rule set, because obviously they made the changes to the passing stat, and the main part of the reason why bomber was kind of bad is because someone would take a bomber and they'd throw the bomb to an elf would go, all right, yeah, that's fine, and then throw it straight back at it, and it'd be like, oh, well, that kind of sucked, didn't it? But in this edition, where like most players have a passing of a 4+ or worse.
Yeah, but I think from my point of view is that the easiest way of doing the comparison is comparing him to a normal thrower of bomb thrower on a goblin team, right? 40k, same stats, just no accuracy and no special rule. Like that's the difference. That's what you're getting for 10k. Getting accuracy and you're getting this special rule. And if goblins aren't willing to buy a bomber on the goblin team because he's not good enough, then that is the difference between why he's a must-buy purchase and not a must-buy purchase. So basically, it is that accuracy, right? That accuracy is what makes him... Also, the thing that I find, at least in some teams, from my point of view, is like, for 50k, what's my alternative? What could I get instead for 50k? I could get Bob by... And on a dwarf team with fixed goal on all my players, I'm not going to have...
nothing.
That's nothing. So why would I get that? This, I get a piece that I can foul with it. I might be lucky to throw a good bomb. I get something that will definitely make my opponent go after that guy instead of my other players. If he doesn't do anything on the whole match, that is still 10 times more valuable than those purple players. And I think the main reason for me is that because he is 50k, he is almost always on the table for being something you can get as an inducement. Like if he was 150k, even if it was worth, you don't get 150k that often. So because he's so low, that means he's always more or less within reach. And because you have made him just that tad too good that the other inducements can't compete with him, he becomes a no-brainer choice. And that I agree. And because then it's like, Babes or him? Well, him. Like, why would I pick the Babes?
Yeah,
and
it's the kind of the complete opposite end of the spectrum to like most of the elven stars. It's like most of the elf stars are just so expensive that you're just like, why would I take that?
Yeah,
I can't. When I try and build an elf roster for a tournament, I just can't build any rosters with any stars at all. No. They're so expensive. We've got a potential score alert, by the way, over in Horde Master versus Scouse Boy. It's turn 5 and it's Star Player City over there. You've got Ripper, Bolt Grot, and Fungus the Loon that have been induced by the Skaven, it looks like.
Yes, Ripper and Fungus.
Oh, that's a
Fungus is hiding behind the Crocs at the moment, but yeah.
So I wonder whether how Scouse Boy's going to play this, whether he's going to try and see this out. He's killed one rat already and got rid of another.
Ooh.
That's really important for this league. Actually, it's they could be away here. They've got a skink high up here.
Now we're going to get a bounce.
Interesting choice.
Oh, I don't know if I would have done the bounce.
That's a great bounce.
Oh, it's worked out.
That's a great bounce.
That ball is gone.
Jammy bugger.
What a swing!
So I think you've got to get rid of this skink over on the left hand side here now.
I would not.
And you've just got to throw dice. You've just got to throw dice at this.
I wouldn't have raced that. That's there. Yeah, you gotta reroll that.
You've got to re-roll it.
Yeah.
That's unlucky. That's really unlucky.
Well,
I
considering
think
they both
that's
now
that's also
failed
a reason.
a 3+, I think Nuffle is being fair. I'm glad that I'm not the Skaven player at this moment, but
Yeah, I think
you had to
like
take
for
a
example
chance.
there, if they didn't go for the initial scatter of the ball and just used Ripper's grab to just pull a Saurus out, like they still would have had that 3+
Ball would have been in
pickup,
a
but
much
it would have
better. Yeah.
yeah.
I think I think it's sort of the same problem from both teams. You trust that the dodge out with the skink is going to succeed because it's a 3+ per reroll, and you're going to do the same assumption that you can going to do the pickup with a 3+ with a reroll, right? So I think in that sense they're both relying on a statistically move, right? And then it comes the question of like how much of the positioning are you sacrificing for a fairly reliable roll, right? Yeah, that's 6
Well,
dice and no pow.
that's good. I wondered whether he'd try and force his hand there, but I mean, they still had some pressure on the ball. And I mean, you've got these skinks here with diving tackle.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily think that, you know, even if a Skaven gutter runner can get away, I don't think they're necessarily away. And Horde Master's got no re-rolls at all. But this is looking tasty.
Yeah, it seems like Hordemaster did what I do sometimes, where it's just like, oh, I really want to just like hyper focus on the ball, and I think it's just like taking a small step back and realizing like I don't need to scatter the ball here. It's going to be like even if they scattered it and it went really well, it was going to be a 3+ anyway because it was going to land in a tackle zone somewhere. But the lizards should be fine.
Yeah, I think
like
the lizards are fine here. They've got the dive and tackle player. I mean, a pow on that gutter runner is pretty decent.
Yeah, that's pretty crucial because he's going to be the guy who's going to try to
leg
the ball. To get the ball in play, I think you would have gone for trying to force a bounce up here. Something.
Yeah, I think now this is where Skaven they just want a scatter. The question is, like, they're not going to be able to really get it because all the skinks have sidestep.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to, if they want to do something here.
If you can get rid of the crops, it's pretty good.
We're looking at uphills.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm thinking you wanna. The problem is if you wanna do even an uphill, you are basically wanting to hit the 2 Sauruses, right?
Yeah, it's. I think the bottommost wrestle strip. I think you want to do a diagonal uphill against the Saurus. Fungus the Loon putting in some work.
Yeah, that's 3 consecutive blocks, and he's managed to get the letter down on the floor as well.
He might be trying to clear up some of those Sauruses here. Yeah. They'll have to pick up most of them off the ground in a few seconds' time.
Well, that's good.
That is interesting.
I love Ripper. I love Ripper.
Again, I think he is a solid choice.
Too bashy for me. Sorry, folks.
well, I think like for 250, right? 250, you get a troll that doesn't have Bonehead. That's a 6 strength.
That's really good.
And regenerate and stuff like that.
He's also got a once per half. You can choose to re-roll any single dice, which he has used on a rush, but that's pretty good. It gives you a free re-roll specific to that player, which is awesome.
Yeah, he's essentially just budget Morg.
But we watched another match with Morg in it, so that's why also. But I think again compared to Morg for the same price, right? Compared to him, I'd rather have Ripper. Because I'm
I'd
only
rather have Ripper a lot of the time.
see, I'm only spending 250, and I'm getting a piece that can most likely recover his own cost.
Yeah, I mean, like, just he can fulfill the role of being that
That's risky.
strength 6 wall,
Yeah.
but in a pinch you can have him just like 3 dice anything, even though he's not got block and stuff. He's still got mighty blow. He activates whenever you want him to activate without having to stand anybody next to him. It's great.
That's good.
Ooh, that's important.
That's a nice knockdown. I mean, it's a shame they've got sidestep, but it just adds extra pressure to the ball. It's a shame that's double ones.
Yeah.
The coach is asking a lot of this player.
Yeah. He's asking a lot of that's definitely. This is high risk, high reward, but this I wouldn't dare do this.
I mean, it's a shame actually because you've put them all in a line.
Yeah.
These gutter runners would be super if they managed to get sidestep. If you had sidestep on a couple of these, they'd be horrific.
I generally try.
I mean, this is the point where you kind of look at. I mean, they must have 11 players because I can't see any journeymen on the pitch.
No, the spare players over here, so
they've got 11 players. I think their initial TV was something like 1150.
Well,
this is a good team to redraft. Looking at what they've got available here,
yeah,
it's a good team to redraft, and you can take some of those star players on a regular basis. That's not a bad way to try and play them. They might be in trouble here though with some serfs next turn.
Yeah.
Might be in trouble with serfs on this turn if they're not careful.
Yeah, exactly.
If the player is pushed here, it will finish in the.
Don't think they're going to be able to get the ball this turn without throwing something like a 4-up at it. That's unlucky. That's unlucky.
Would you wrestle?
Now, does he decline this?
Oof.
That's that's harsh.
Yeah.
Well, you get. I mean, yeah.
It's safe, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Only got that Tacklesaurus there. You really want another player, but he just doesn't have one.
No.
Might have another player if Fungus does a good job of freeing up Ripper.
Yeah.
Ripper's still going to have to do some sort of rush shenanigans here, but like, that's probably the best bet they've got.
Yeah, because as far as I can see.
Interesting choice. Okay. This must be a play to try and just lock up any of the legitimate scoring threats.
I think he's going to go for trying to block here again. And create enough tackle zones that he can't pick up the ball. But yeah, I would probably like the odds of him taking out here and then going over here for a bounce. Probably what I would have tried.
Have you signed up for the UK BBL's tabletop tournament yet, Evie? Is that on your to-do list?
Not at the moment. No, I can't play anything at the moment.
Well, I know you're kind of laid up a bit. It is March, so hopefully you're feeling a bit better by that point. But that is an opportunity for anybody listening if they haven't looked at the UKBBL's tabletop tournament in San Diego, run by G. Coleman. Happens every year. Last year's winner was Ian the Ace, if my memory serves me correctly. I will be going to that one with some kind of elf. I did all right last year with them.
Would it be some elf of the dark persuasion per any chance?
To be honest, I'd quite like to take Woodies.
Oh, nice.
That's kind of what I'd like. I think that's what I'd like to play. I really would love to take to get High Elves released by, if Games Workshop are listening, if they could release that, that would be really helpful.
I would like that too.
We've got another load of games that have kicked off in the league, but I've just popped back into the JB and Backgiller game, and the Orcs are in trouble here. The Undead have managed to split them in two. The ball is unprotected, and it is the Undead's turn. So the fact that Scouseboy is not necessarily...
He just used his last reroll. That's
There's also a bunch of... There's 7 games going on right now. There's 5 games going on in the outdoor... Oh wait, no, there's... Oh no, I'm missing... No, there's 2 going on in Altdorf East and 3 going on in Altdorf West. And then there's a Premiership West game going on at the moment as well.
Yeah, Fantas versus the Sir. I mean, I've always rated Fantas really highly. He gave me a really tricky game. I've always thought Fantas would win a UKBBL title at some point. I don't think it's happened for him yet, but I think it will do.
I suspect it won't be this season.
No, I don't think. I think it might be you, Archangel.
I think I'm hoping that I'll at least make it to the playoff. That is sort of my ambition at this point.
But I was a bit gutted we didn't get to see you play Andy Davo.
Yeah, I would have loved that too.
But such is life. Sometimes you might get to play. You might get to play each other in the
playoffs. Get to
the playoffs.
Be even more.
Is that a failed pickup by the...
Yes, it is.
That makes it interesting. What is it? Turn...
So that means that
8.
they
So
will be seriously...
Is that a stop?
That is a stop. Yeah, the Skaven have prevented the score. It doesn't look like Backgiller's going to score either, to be honest. The Orcs have kind of gotten stuck on the sidelines.
I must say
they've got their thrower at the back there, so there's a chance to release handoff and you know, potentially do some magic, but I'm not sure where the free play is going to be to potentially throw the ball to. I find playing against Undead really hard.
Undead are the
you just can't get rid of them. They just kid. I've tried. I try every game. I just can't get rid of them. Though this
I played in the MML like playoffs that happened for they were basically doing like a fun event where they were doing like a playoffs for the final ladder season that was no longer crossplay, and then obviously so it happened on the season where we got crossplay and you got to add 1 or 2 teams to it. So I added a Imperial Nobility team that was kind of okay, I guess. It's Imperial Nobility, but then I added a Wood Elf team. And both my first and second round with the Wood Elf team was against back-to-back Undead teams.
Oh.
And by the time I got to the 3rd round, it was my Wood Elves, because I'd managed to win both games, but it was my Wood Elves at like 1100 team value versus a fully kitted out Elven Union team at like 1500. And I had one dancer, and I couldn't do anything really. I got stuck.
I think this game's going to go for...
I think this is also going to be another stop by the Undead, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's advantage Just a Bully in the race for the Premiership in the Altdorf Wests. I'm just going to go and see what's cracking in that Premiership game.
But
I'm
I
gonna go
would
and have
say,
a.
even though undead are really hard to get rid of, remembering that they used to have regeneration on 2+, it's at least it's not that bad anymore.
God, yeah. I remember I got told. I got told like, oh yeah, like they used to, when piling on, you used to add your strength as the modifier.
Yeah,
It's like, oh god, Mummy's getting like +6 on a piling on.
yeah. But that was also back when a Mighty Blow was a +1 to both rolls in all cases. Like the game where, like we talked about also a little bit before, but this thing about like the game was much more swingy in the sense that everything just was much more powerful. So I used to play a lot of Warhammer, and if you go back to like Warhammer 4th edition, it was basically called Hero Hammer because your heroes could basically wipe out whole units by themselves, but they could also get wiped out by a unit very easily. And everything just mattered more, where they have sort of over time toned down how much you can actually do per action. I think that's a step in the right direction. Like that yes, you can still do big stuff, but compared to what you used to be able to, it is a lot less. Whether that be adding your rank 6 mummy to the pylon or stuff like that, it just makes the game more stable in what it does, and I think that is still not even. I think they should make it even more stable, but that's a separate discussion. This is gonna. Well, there is technically one still within scoring threat here, right? It's a ghoul that is lingering here. It just needs to.
So I was just having a look at the standings, just with this Premiership game going on, and this is actually Prem West, so this is Fantas against the Sur. The Sur's not actually completely out of playoff contention. Currently, I make it. They'd be on 17 points.
The Sur is 6 behind. So the scores that I'm showing here is for match day 9. So this is not including these matches, of course. But he is potentially within the running of a playoff match. Yes.
You'd need everything to go, I think, pretty much perfect. But
so if my math is correctly, if he wins these 2 last rounds and Andy loses one of his, and he has better score, or if Andy loses and draws one, he's actually in.
Little update on the Hordemaster Skaven versus Scouse Boy. It seems to be that Hordemaster Skaven has managed to argue the call and keep Fungus on the field.
My God.
That seems fair.
There's some great action going on this evening. Really, really good.
Definitely.
That's really unlucky. Failing the surf opportunity there from back Gila would have been pretty crucial.
Yeah.
Oh,
especially because technically right now there's still a scoring threat. Not even a.
Oh, you are right. If they can sack the ball here and get the ball off,
and then a goal to pick up and deliver, and
rush
touchdown.
and off. Any re-rolls left?
And there's a re-roll.
This is not out of the realms of possibility. Then
I was probably maybe the.
I wonder. I was looking. Do you be a little bit greedy? Do you be a little bit greedy? And is there a player that can get over there?
Oh, you want to surf this guy?
I want to surf that guy. But I think it's because I didn't see the zombie must have been stood up.
So the question is now: do you take the what is that reached here and then surf this guy? Is that the play we're trying to do?
You must be now trying to surf that play. And hope that the ball is going to come off. It's either going to come off straight or up the field or down the field. I think 2 of those options are still scoreable.
Yeah, I would be concerned. Most likely the ball would land around the big guns. You're synchronizing before.
I mean, they must not be certain that they're going to be they're going to be scoring.
No.
Good removal.
Yeah, it's 4+ for next half.
Gotta be going for this. Gotta be going for this.
Oh, are you going to take the goal
You,
and
you,
serve
you've
the...
got to you've got to do it with the ghoul, right? You've got to do it with the ghoul, and just hope that you get a kind bounce here.
Yeah, the bounce is going to determine whether this is odds. That's a dual removal. That's
Okay,
what is it? Oh,
that's really unfortunate.
yeah. That's going to be well, double bounce. Let's see where that ends.
I mean, if
Well,
this comes out, you've actually got a chance to try and pick up and throw.
yeah,
You might as well.
Might as well. I generally say there's no reward for not trying. So you got to pick that up. You then run around.
It's a 3+ and then 6+, and you might as well just. There's literally no point. You might as well just stand up a player, try and pick up, move to a point where you can throw.
But then
It's a 6+ anyway, right?
Yeah, then we can go one left, pick up, and then throw. Might as well.
It's just you
it's
just
one
want
of
to make
those.
sure that
If it works, it's perfect. If it doesn't work, oh well.
But why the running?
okay. Interesting.
Why the running? The worst bit is
I
like
think-
it would have been a
maybe
6. It would have been a 6 to the throw that he wasted on a rush.
Oh,
Yeah, I think maybe they thought that like they could get like a better pass out of it. I don't know why, but no, I would have just
I'd have just
been
thrown
lucky
it.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not great.
Well, then
Well,
he can
See
dribbles
whether
not
they can
returns.
argue bomber.
Oh, you bomber! Oh my word!
I hate that word.
That's good. That's gonna make things miserable for the undead.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long half. It's gonna be a long half.
Unfortunately for Scouse Boy, they got a little bit overzealous with Fungus the Loon and walked it into a bunch of players, and it promptly got punched in the face.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know about you, but if I get an opportunity to, as my last dice, 2 dice uphill, Fungus, or any ball and chain player, actually, I take it every time. Because the reward is you get that player off the field.
My only problem with
it tends to have no defensive skills, right?
True, but my only problem is like Fungus. The problem with Fungus for me is that he has mighty blow. So if you fail, that is it's not a really nice. Whereas the usual Goblin teams,
You don't get to use mighty blow though on your block action.
You don't.
If it's your block action, you don't get to use mighty blow.
I think you get to use Mighty Blow if it's a skull. If it's a both down, then you can't use it.
Oh, I was not
no,
aware
it's
of that.
the wording's when an opponent is knocked down. I'm just using the Rat Ogre in the Sir game to use this.
Yeah.
Following a block by this player, following a block.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
So you can't use Mighty Blow. I mean, I'm sure someone in the chat will correct us if we're wrong, but I'm 99% certain that you cannot use Mighty Blow if you're knocked down on your own block action. So it does look like the Sir has got this score wrapped up. So it looks like it's going to be 1-0 to the Renegades. So Sir keeping his end of the bargain. Do you know what you're cutting yet from your team, Archangel? All your blitzers, I hope. All of them. Just get rid of all of them and hire new ones.
I was sure that the player that you wanted me to fire was the sneaky kid player.
Oh yeah, he was horrible. To be honest, though, it was the lineman with tackle that caused me the most problems. To be honest.
So I jumped into the blue lights versus Cuddle Cthulhu. He has a dead mummy and lost 3-0. That is
Oh,
That's not a good day.
Yeah, I think Cuddle Me Cthulhu, I think he did decide to stick. That might not be the case after this game.
No.
and it was against humans, and I swear that I have to say this on a regular basis, that humans are far bashier than people give them credit for.
Yes, that is definitely the case.
So I've just jumped into Doug Lowe versus Ringtail. It's turn 3 of the defense. There's already been 2 injuries. There's a lot of players that are on the floor or not doing what they're supposed to. But it looks like it's...
is the most cracked out of his mind person I've ever met in my entire life.
You will have to explain that. You can't just say, you can't just leave that out there.
They oh my bloody, oh, what? Okay, so the ball's on a gutter runner, dodges away from Prehensile Tail, hands it off to another gutter runner. Wait, no, must have done a pass. No, so okay, so has the ball, dodges with the gutter runner, passes the ball with a gutter runner 4+ into another gutter runner who is in a tackle zone, who has to catch it on a 3, then dodges out with that gutter runner, marks 2 skinks, and hands it off to another gutter runner that's in 2 tackle zones, burns all re-rolls to get all this going and get the catch going, then dodges through diving tackle twice, just rolls a 5 and a 6, and then rushes into the end zone.
That sounds reasonable.
Like,
Well, I've just had an interesting pass here in the Ringtail game.
I'd be so salty if I was Lizards when they're just watching a gutter runner walk through my diving tackle players twice. Ridiculous.
That's an interesting... Oh, that's a nice knockdown.
Yeah.
That's a nice knockdown for the Skaven. And the fact that they've got rid of that elf as well.
Yeah.
That might motivate you to actually try and screen out maybe the rest of this half now. Skaven are just... I mean, if I say a bit like elves, if you can't score against them, you're not going to stop them. This is what I remember when I played Helenik in my game.
Yeah.
I knew he was going to score 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So it's basically, could I score 3, or could I get lucky, and could he not get his 1 turn touchdown off? Once you've got that Skaven with that gutter runner with sprint, 2 heads, that's all they need, right? And sidestep. You get those 3 skills.
Well, you need to be like orcs or dwarves, something who's like stand firm or something like to counter that sort of thing. Short of that,
so I try to put 2. I don't have enough sidestep players, so I put my two sidestep players that I had on the line as wide as possible, and left my one in the middle.
Yeah.
That didn't have it. No, there's a dead Skaven. There's a dead gutter runner. Everybody, that will please everyone who doesn't like Skaven. He's also dead.
It's funny. I was just thinking, like, whether it's Skaven or dwarves, or there's generally a lot of players, not coaches, but players that people really like to just see die. Gutter runners, dwarves, elves are just top of that list, to my opinion.
That's a nice chat conversation. So, folks on the chat, what's your favourite player to see die?
I will keep my answer, but I definitely know which one I where to see die the most.
Oh, I know my answer as well.
I think I also know mine.
Should we do answers at 9 o'clock?
What is that, like? 5 minutes? Yeah,
That's 5 minutes. It allows the 2 people who are watching us to get their answers in.
Are you sure it's just me and the?
Oh no, it's just I'm just the viewer. It's you and me. We're having a good time.
Exactly. But
I actually going back to this game real quick with the Skaven Lizards. They've just kicked the ball to them, and it's also a timeout, which I think that kind of just cements this that it's either going to be a draw or the Skaven are going to somehow BS themselves into a win. But yeah, I think this game's pretty much over and done with. I don't think the Skaven are really in a position to like even slow down or stop the Lizard Men here.
Well, I will say, Evie, we said this about the playoff, not the playoff, the FA Cup final, and look what happened there.
That is true.
It's just this game. It's just something special about this game.
It does have a high level of randomness.
Oh, I didn't actually spot that, but the player that's been removed, which I think everybody will thank Ringtail for, is the claw lineman, who is going to be missing for the last game. Oh, someone's got spotted for fouling.
Just because you're stepping on his head, can't be right.
Was that? Oh, that was a Skaven foul.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Unless,
What were they trying to trade there for? Oh, that was a guard mighty blow block. If it had been the tackle block one, I'd have been far more interested.
Get up or get off the field.
I will say I'm pretty disgusted on myself playing elves, and I still don't have a sneaky get dirty player. That's really poor. That's really poor.
You will probably need to have that for next season.
I just need better dice against you.
That is definitely
really weird,
advised. Well, you can also just do, what was it, four blitzes in one match?
Yeah, that's the other option. That worked really well for me in the first time we played.
Yes.
I feel like sneaky get dirty player on elves is potentially a little bit of bait, because if you want to kind of use it to its utmost, you have to group your elves up. I don't like grouping my elves up because they get surrounded by orcs.
So
see, I disagree. I disagree with that. I actually think it's a really useful skill. Now that's pretty disastrous breaking away here. That's really disastrous for the lizards. I don't know why they push the cage that much. Did they need to push the cage that much?
I think he was going for an early touchdown.
I mean, it's positive play. I will never argue about that.
It looked like they were going to go for the early touchdown, and they were going to try and just leverage the players to kind of try and get the win instead.
You got a pretty easy opportunity now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I think I count it as one rush, hand off to this strip ball wrestler, dodge on the left. You just want to make sure that you block this skink over on the side. This is the play that I saw.
Why are you?
No he hasn't got any re-rolls, right? Because he had that insane play.
Yeah, which I can't believe worked.
This is where he might come to regret that. Yeah, just moving those players that you're cursing over.
Yeah, that would have helped, especially with the straight power there. That's
just a little quick one on Just a Bully and Bacula. Bombers put in some work, and now the Orcs kind of have the ball.
Wow.
Really?
So both of those coaches going for top spot, because I think they are top spot. Those two, they're fighting it out for that league win. So both of them look like they could be on the end of defeats today, which will be a kind of winner takes all, I think, going into the last week. But that'll be a really, really bitter pill to swallow, I think, for JB. But particularly, I think as he had a, I mean, it was a solid chance in that first half to get a score.
Yeah, the bomber has KO'd the block guard Stanford Mummy and the guard tackle White Blitzer, and then the ball has bobbled behind the York lines. It's not looking good.
Also, because he's basically downed all the players.
Yeah, it kind of It just there was a bomb thrown, there was some bad stuff, and there were some punches that happened, and then the ball just bobbled the Orcs' way.
Yeah.
So over in Nurgle land, in the I think it's the Altdorf East, which is Itchen versus Liman. It looks like the Nurgle have managed to do Nurgle things and score in the. That's really terrible dice. Sorry, I've just watched Black Orcs roll successive double both downs and then burn a reroll, then 3 dice, 2 both downs in the skull, brawler, then both down again, no block.
Generally, when you have a Black Orc team and you are 3 Black Orcs short, that is.
Well, this looks like probably it's going to be a win for the Nurgle, but I have to say I've maintained this throughout. I think when we've set the caps, I know there's been loads and loads of different conversations about, kind of what the cap should be, what the really good perfect point is. 1400. Those chaos teams that their bread and butter stuff is removing players. You want claw, you want block, you want mighty blow.
Yeah.
I mean, this is I think it's something like a 1500 team.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really, really solid team. I mean, you could lose one of the bloaters. You could probably lose one of the bloaters and replace it with a rotter. You possibly lose a reroll as well. Le Mans got 3 rerolls. You cut it down to 2 because you got block on most of your bloaters.
I mean, that's if I'm looking at that team, the only real TV saving I could see on it is the what's it called, the Pestigore that's on the back right, because it's got block, yes, it's got claw, but it's got monstrous mouth. I'd be tempted.
That looks like a random to me. Yeah.
I'd be tempted just to kind of basically just keep getting rid of the Pestigores, keep getting rid of the Rotters, and just keep building up the bloaters and the rot spawn until you're ready to make a big run for it.
Yeah.
I think my problem with the cap of 1400 is that the matches you have right at the start of the season are going to be heavily impacted by it. And towards the end of the season, you're going to have that there's teams that grow quicker than others. And then you're going to repeat that cycle. I
think I would counter that though with the fact that because we allow that's some really, really terrible dice here. Really terrible for Itchin. That's really, really quite horrible. I mean, at least he's traded a player, so I mean that's. I mean, it's a stun.
Three skulls, 4 both down, and 1 pow of his 8 last block dice. At the cost of 2 rerolls. That is enough of dice.
I mean, you're going to be pretty unhappy with that.
Yeah.
But no, I was going to say about the cap. Sort of, this is kind of me putting my commissioner head on and sort of trying to go through my thinking about it. You can obviously save your SPP going into a season. Yeah. And so, for example, I've got a witch elf who's ready to level up to take her 2nd level. I'm not going to take it until I get into next season. No. So it creates almost like a championship window. So if matches go badly initially, what I can do is I can basically go, right, I'm going to cut the witch, I'm going to buy a new one, and I'm going to save again. I win early, a bit like how the NFL does, right? If I start to win early, what I can do is if I've been saving up on players to kind of build long-term things, I can go right. I can win. I'm looking to win now, so let's maybe take a secondary. Whereas maybe I was looking for a stat increase. So I
Yeah,
do think there is some roster management in the fact of do you want to win now, or do you want to build long term? And that's where I think the 1400s, because it sits in that right mid tier. You've got some
I sort of
teams
agree
that
with that. And if you look between Andy's and my team, you can clearly see the difference. Andy's team was built to get good quickly, and he has a strong team, but he also has a very loaded team value because every skill is picked. And I had a not particularly good first and second seasons because I was spending a lot of time on getting my team value low to build team over time, but also now means that I have a much comparatively lower team value. So there is that balance. But what I more was referring to is for me is if I meet a chaos team at 1400 at the start of the season, I'll be happy. If I meet a chaos team at the end of the season at 1600, 1700 because they've grown, I will probably be sad. And it's technically the same two teams, two players, but depending on where I hit them now in the season, it also matters to me because
I mean, though you could also argue that you need those chaos players to be performing well. I mean, it's just more terrible dice, isn't it?
Jesus Christ,
For
sorry.
the I mean, that's all 3 rerolls gone in essentially 2 turns.
Yeah.
The dice have been atrocious, and I don't see how he's going to get this ball safe as well next turn.
There
I mean,
could be a score for Batgilla's Orcs here. Somehow, Bomber Dribblesnot's got hold of the ball and has made a potato downfield.
Which match is that?
The Batgilla Orcs versus Just a Bully Undead.
let's go
And
have a look.
now, the Orcs, with no rerolls, are now throwing dodges with blitzers out there.
You've got to love the craziness of this game. You've got to love it.
It sounds like a right crazy match.
I feel so bad for the Undead because they've not used any rerolls or anything, and just everything's just no. It's not even that they've done anything wrong. It's just that everything on Batgilla's side has just gone right.
Oh.
And Bomber for 50k has apparently just been the most clutch thing ever.
I think both me and Archangel are in agreement that when Blood Bowl Season 3 on tabletop is released, the thing they need to get rid of is Argue the Call.
Yeah.
Argue the Call absolutely needs to go.
Yes. It
There's
is.
a few things for me. Argue the Call needs to go. Wildly inaccurate needs to go.
Yes. Or at least make it less random. Like it scatters 6 times instead of 3 for an accurate throw, right? But the fact that you're more or less just spinning a dial in a random direction and then throwing the ball, no, that's no.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if it was just slightly more inaccurate. So you could still only go. It could only go forwards.
Yeah.
In a big cone. That would be somewhat fine. At least it's going the right direction.
Yeah.
I'd see a return of more Hail Marys, to be honest. You don't see a lot of it.
No.
Quite like to see that.
Hail Mary pass is just like this. Oh, you'll like this, Phil. This is my absolute dream for the High Elf rework. That the High Elves, because they're supposed to be the premier passing team, they get passing 1+ players. And then if you take Hail Mary pass on them, you can essentially throw anywhere on the field on a 3+.
I mean, that would be, that would make them really good. I was just going to say over in Nurgle land, the Nurgles have got rid of the troll, so it's gone from bad to worse for the Black Orcs. They now have 3 Black Orcs and a load of goblins, and they're surrounded by Nurgle, and they've just rolled double skull again.
Why wouldn't you? Well, Snotling scored a touch.
Bomber scored.
We probably should check how Scouseboy is getting on. Can he argue the call again? Can he argue the call again? We need to know, did he argue the call?
I'll stay on it.
Well, this is also one of the reasons why I don't like that rule, because there's
Nope,
no reason not to do it.
Well, I mean, that will give JB at least some comfort. Oh, Tapestry Muppet. That will be another really good one to go in and see shortly. But yeah, let's go and have a little look at... that must have finished then. Wonder whether we can see a final score. I'll try and get the final score up while you jump into a game, Archangel.
Yeah. Just gonna say we should be able to... There should be a replays of competition, right?
Well, to be fair, I think Itchin on the base of this game has decided to run away for the season, and I can understand why.
Yeah.
Right, let's have a little look. We're looking at Altdorf West. The Lizards managed to secure a 1-1 draw.
I thought they would.
So from a potentially dangerous situation, they've managed to get themselves a point. That might decide what happens in Altdorf West. And the Nurgle have got the ball, so I think the Nurgle game is over.
Yeah, I think so too.
The Shambling Undead have 3 turns to make this a draw.
So what have we got here in Douglow and Ringtail's game?
I think they are... Well, it's going to be a 1 to the Ringtail in first half. I don't see this.
So Doug's got another turn.
Yeah.
But I don't think he can score, can he?
I can't see anyone with the... Well, there's a Goblin. I had not seen that one. So there's a Goblin behind the Troll. Potentially.
So you could hand off and do the throw, teammate. That would be
more or less it, right? Like you want to maybe
might as well
punch a
go for it.
hole.
Well, burning a reroll on that won't help.
Getting water with a death.
Oh no, that was Ringtails. Yeah.
Yeah. That was
That's 2 dead Skaven. So it's 12 past 9. Come on, folks, let's hear your preferred dead players. So should we start with you, Archangel? Who is your preferred dead player?
it has to be the War Dancer.
That I mean, you're just wrong. You are just wrong. But I mean, that's okay. It's okay to be wrong. I'm one of those people who I can just debate about why you're wrong, and if you just feel that way, then how am I to kind of say that you are?
Well, we can start off. There's the only right elf is a dead elf, right?
So why do you specifically pick on a War Dancer? They're beautiful.
Yes,
they're lovely.
Yes, and from a lore and fluff wise, it is the coolest and everything. The main reason why I hate them is because the Wood Elf team, for better and worse, at least in my opinion, is do or die by the War Dancers. So you have a whole team, which is basically 2 star players pretending to be normal players, and everything else doesn't fucking matter.
I mean, I just vehemently disagree. But I just disagree. I mean, I'm running a tabletop I'm going to try and get my
Oh.
roster up just to see what it is.
Silly troll.
I'll try and see if I can find it. Here we go. So this is the team that I'm running. So I've got a sidestep and then +1 movement war dancer. I've also got a tackle strip ball war dancer.
Star player 1 and 2, yes.
But I would also say you need a decent thrower.
Well,
and you also need good catchers. You need catchers to have dodge and wrestle. You need one of them to have kick. I wish Sarah Moore were here because he would take you to task on that.
But for better and worse. So I played a fair bit of elves, but Wood Elves is the one that I played the least. But I find the problem is that
you should drop the orcs. You should drop the orcs and go play Wood Elves, and then you'll see that you're wrong.
So I have gotten a Dark Elf team into the challenge this season, and potentially at least to this point, but they're in a good position at being, I think it's 25 at this point. Is on a Dark Elf team you rely on all your players and you need all positions. So the fact that you have 4 blitzers also means that losing one is bad, but you can still make it work. If you lose 2, it gets the wheels of the wagon starting to come off. A Wood Elf team without its war dancers is nothing. And as much as I like tree men, I like the idea of tree men, but it just doesn't work in Blood Bowl.
I mean, I can't run a Wood Elf team without a tree. I have to have the tree.
I can't run a Wood Elf team with a tree.
Yeah, I have the same problem. I can't make it work with the tree.
So I just find the tree is a really, really good. It blocks space, so you can then force down the sides. You can lock up players. I mean, I've got a Wood Elf team on the ladder. I haven't played them as much as I'd want to, but I'm 8-2-0 at the moment, and the tree is just so useful because it's just such a big distraction.
I agree, but
it soaks and it takes up hits. I understand what people say about it. You've got it's quite a big TV block, and if I was running it in for example a UKBBL where you had a cap, I probably would go, do you know what, the tree's going to be the cap hit, and I'm going to cut it, and I'll get it back, sort of 2 or 3 games into the season.
But I think you've got 2 types of Wood Elf players. I think you've got the type of Wood Elf player that likes to have a tree, and then they like to block off sections block off sections, and then have screens and that kind of thing. And
That's
then
me.
you've got the type of Wood Elf player that's me, where it's like, right, I've got 2 war dancers, I've got 4 catchers, I'm going hell for leather for the ball. If it fails, well, that's a shame, isn't it? And then when it's my turn, Daka. I'm running away.
Yeah, so I tend to play a much more positional sort of game when I play them. That's just how I like to play it. I can go in on the ball, but it's only when I see the opportunity. I'm not scared of leaping. If I lose the wall but dancers, hey, so what? They're still brilliant, like right out of the box. It doesn't mean that you should kill them. They're still really good. But
I think from my point of view, the biggest problem I have with the tree is that, like, when I look at it, so I used to play a lot of Warhammer tournaments back in the day. I used to be the big fucking nerd. And when I was making army selection, and it's sort of the same when I'm still building big teams to this date, it is about what are helping me in what situations. And the problem with the tree is, if I'm playing against someone who is mid-level or not particularly good, the tree's going to do me a lot of help. Because they won't know what to do with the tree, and they will get stuck in the tree, and it will help me. Against really good players, the tree's not going to benefit me at all. It's just going to be a huge strain on my TV. And if I had to have help with the games against not so good players, because that's where I was myself, that I still needed help with those, I would get a tree. Because it would still help me for those sort of contingencies. Whereas if I am already struggling with beating players who know how to deal a tree, then I need units or players with the right skills that benefit me against that sort of thing. So for me, it's a compositional wise question of what it is. Like if you're in a league with a lot of, let's say, orcs or undead or something, well, tree becomes a much viable question in that case, right? Because that is what you need help with. A tree against another elf team, well, that's a waste of everything, right? Because it's not going to help me. And I think, and that is my problem with wood elves, is that they're in that sort of. So if you compare them to Skaven, also because I'm looking at the Skaven match here, you have players on the team which functions is to sort of distract the opponent. That be linemen on either team. You have players who are meant to do ball magic, which is either throwers or catchers or gutter runners, right? But you also need someone on your team to force the plays that is going to make you win or lose the game. Getting the ball from the other player, right? Most cases. And in that case, the tree doesn't help me. And the only two players on a Wood Elves team that most likely is going to be the two players that are going to be relying on is the two War Dances. Because they are going to be the two. And that's why if you can get a War Dances off the field, like he doesn't have to die, but if you can just get it off the field, the power and the threat the Wood Elf collapses more or less on itself. But as long as there's a War Dance on the field, you are like... That's the player you're keeping an eye on at all time because he's always a threat. Wherever he is, he's a threat. But the second he's gone off the field, there's no threats left.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with that. Right, if you get rid of both War Dancers, essentially the game's kind of done from a actual being offensively effective, whether that's on defense or offense. You're just kind of done. Just before I give my favorite type of dead player, which is going to be really super boring, but that kind of sums up that race, which will kind of give it away, is we've got what looks like a really interesting game down in, I think it's another Altdorf game. Got M. Getty versus Foster's. It looks like either there was a successful one-turn attempt by the Skaven. Their one-turner, though, it is off the pitch, and I've never seen a more injured one-turner in my life. It has a niggle, it has a miss next game, it has a... what is that? That looks like
I think he's trying to go for one of each.
Yeah, I mean, if that player's not cut, I mean, I would be surprised. But... yeah, looks really interesting. I don't know what the connotations are for this game, but Elves against Skaven, and with a number of removed players, I think on both sides, could be an interesting second half. So my favourite dead player, of course, is the complete opposite. Well, I was going to say any sort of dwarf, but it has to be specifically a dwarf lineman, right? You just... I know what everybody says about those type of players. You know, they're really overpowered, and the fact that, you know, they start with the two of the best skills in the game, block and tackle. We've kind of been over these points. The reason why I say is that they are the best type of dead player is they just do everyone else a massive favour. If you manage to get rid of one of their stand firm, mighty blow, guard, linemen, that's a massive help to the rest of the league. That would be one of the players. I mean, I don't particularly like turn 16 Fowlin, but if you put one of those on the line, for sure I'm going to stamp on its head. Because it's just good courtesy to the rest of the league to get rid of it, because it's just so horrible.
But here's the funny thing. Says the dwarf player of the last two seasons on the ladder who got into the challenge. So I've played probably 150 plus matches of dwarves in the ladder. The funny thing is that I find... Yes, exactly. And
yes, Evie, we should boo.
Yes, yeah, exactly. The funny thing that I find about dwarves is what you're describing is that player's ability to do stuff that is killing your players, right? But why is it then Chaos players with a Claw Mighty Blow, which are much more killing than the dwarf, is seen as less of a annoyance?
It's because the dwarves have got more durability. So are they armor 10,
So
I mean, I'm coming from an elf perspective, so I'm
yes,
going. If I'm playing elves, who do I want to see? I'd love to play a chaos team because their claw means absolutely nothing to me, unless
exactly.
of course I'm playing dark elves. So
Yes,
I love when I play the ladder and I'm playing wood elves. Hey,
you,
you
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 want to
come
see a
at you
claw.
come at me with your chaos and Nurgle sides because I bet you've all taken claw mighty blow, haven't you? Now one of those skills is fairly decent, but the other one's not. And so if you're taking a load of claw mighty blow players, your TV's a lot higher
Oh yeah.
than what it would be if you were building effectively against elves. And I think this is the I would. It'd be interesting to see some statistics. I know Andy Davis done some statistics over, kind of like how many games are played and what the win percentages are.
But I
But
think I
I
think
would hypothesize that the Elven teams would actually have pretty good win rates
against dwarf.
because they're
Yes,
coming across so many bash prepared sides. And you can take my league game against Snow Troll this match day 9, really good example. Snow Troll, I mean, he didn't. I had really good dice. I'm going to say I have really good dice. But the fact that his team have been prepared to play against Bash.
true.
I mean, he hasn't taken. He had one tackle mighty blow piece, which was the one that was the real. Which was the real problem. Let's have a look at Galentio Waldorf, is what I was going to say.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
raining.
oh, we're in the rain. And the
So
ball is loose.
my problem with dwarves is that they are boring, and they're boring to play against, and they are also somewhat boring to play with. And I think that is the bigger problem with dwarves. I don't think it's their
Oh yes, of
skills,
course.
but
Um,
if you look at most other teams, they can do more or less multiple things. But dwarves only have
yeah,
always one game plan, and that's the same every single time. And with
yeah.
four
I think
movement, that becomes very hard to do something with.
so. When it comes to dwarves, in my opinion, um, it's partially obviously like they just get loads of block, they get loads of tackle, right? It's kind of miserable. It sucks, you know. But I also think that like it's just like you see all the linemen and you see just all of these red skills and you're just like ah
But if you,
okay, they're gonna lean into me, they're gonna have 8 guard, they're gonna have like 8 mighty blow, they're gonna have like 7 stand firm, and you're just like, oh, I just don't want to play this.
no,
It's awful.
I think that is, like I said, the boring part of the team that makes it not fun to play against. And that's why if you look at the team, like the way that Davo has constructed his dwarves, right? There's no, sorry, not dwarves. These orcs. They look like a
It,
they look like a dwarf team.
yeah,
Oh, well, this is what has actually been happening in the Blood Bowl 3 Discord. Everyone's like, "Man, we all hate orcs," and all this other stuff, and then people have turned like almost like a side eye, and they've gone, orcs are just like dwarves but stronger. We don't
Yeah.
like orcs now either.
So I fully agree, and that is actually for me the as an opponent, I think it's more interesting to play against orcs than dwarf, because at least when
they
I'm
have a
playing
passing.
against,
They have a passing threat. Orcs have a passing threat,
they
but
they
at
can even
least
dodge, they can also dodge out, like you don't, like you, not your favorite kind of thing to do as an orc player, but you can actually dodge out, and you need to do that once in a while. As a dwarf player, you, the whole dodging thing is like, I can be forced to do it, but I really don't want to, because
I mean, I would argue you can if you build your blitzers in the right way. Just an update on the Getty Foster's game. The Skaven look like they're in real trouble. They've got one gutter runner on the pitch. It looks like they're probably going to need to go for a Hail Mary to try and give themselves something to defend. But I mean, the Elves have got the numbers. There's a lot of dead Skaven on the sideline. yeah, no, I was going to say I mean I played in I think we spoke about this in the FA Cup final. Evie, I played in a tournament recently where orcs were tiered it was 3 tiers. The skill pack was 1150 for all tiers. It didn't matter. Tier 1 had, I think it was 6 skills or 5 skills. I can't remember.
It's normally
Tier
6 for tier 1.
Yeah, 6, and then I think it was 8 skills for tier 2. Orcs were in tier 2.
No.
So
Why?
so of course when I turned up, I think there was something like 20 players. I think there was something like 6 orc players. Because why wouldn't you? Because for 1150 you can get all your toys, all of them.
Yeah.
I'm surprised there wasn't
and
more. I'd have taken orcs. Why would you not want like
I mean it was
that's just
insane.
ridiculous.
It was legitimately insane. The fact that you had
Just squash him next
yeah, tier 2 orcs was just ridiculous.
I think if you look at the ladder for the last couple of seasons, no, it's not a perfect semblance, especially not tabletop, right? Because there's small races stuff like that, but there's still some growth with it. And you can see orcs are doing really, really good, because at least from where we started this conversation about is that compared to dwarves have one solution for all problems. Dwarves have multiple solutions, and that flexibility makes them quite viable in much context, and that's why they are,
Yeah,
because they still get the armor of the dwarves, right? Yeah, they don't get a block on all the players, they don't get tackled, no, but they get more movement, and they get cheaper players, and they get extra strength. And I would do that swap any day of the week. So for me, the reason why you don't see many players playing dwarves is because they're fucking boring. They are boring to play against, and as much as I wish that wasn't the case, that's just how they're constructed.
Still,
And I'm really concerned to see what they've done with the Chaos Dwarves, because for me, you haven't solved that problem one bit. You actually more or less made it worse.
I actually don't mind Chaos Dwarves.
Ooh.
I actually think that they've done an interesting job with them. Because I feel like what they've done is they've taken out the frustration points of the block, the tackle, the I'm going to level up once and have guard and just be like the best player ever. By taking away the tackle. Well, I say that they've taken away tackle from. They took away tackle from all of them actually.
Yeah.
Now there's also only 4 of them. Iron Hard Skin makes them a pain in the ass to remove, but I think they kind of needed something.
I think the Iron Hard Skin is a separate issue, which I think you're gonna see come up just before we continue. That's a surprise. He's run out of time. He's run out of time.
Oh, that's why.
Getty's run out of time. He's got no bank. He's got nothing left on his time.
Oh,
He set himself up to go for the throw. That's really harsh.
Yep.
Because I mean, that gutter runner's being surfed, right? You sat the ball carrier.
Yeah, but I was going to say, if it wasn't because there's maybe something a little bit more juicy.
Sorry, sorry. I just see a player on the edge of the pit. It's because I played Corn in a tabletop season. Anytime I see someone moderately close to the sidelines, I just get super excited. I'm like, I can get rid of them.
Yes.
But
I think it's something we all suffer from to some extent.
I mean, I was going to say from a tabletop perspective, I don't see orcs as a particular problem.
No,
I think from a Blood Bowl 3 perspective, and again, I think I made this point in the FA Cup final. The solution to orcs is pretty simple.
Yeah.
You need to get 2 racers out into the game ASAP, and they are Khorne and Norse, because they've got 2 natural claw players, and you need those lawnmowers to control the orcs.
I was going to say, I think you're right. I think for me, especially with to begin with, it was the lack of necromancers and the team that was a big
I mean,
issue.
the Necro was 100% the right call to add into the game.
Yeah.
From a controlling the bash sides. You need to control the the bash side. Looks like this Elven game is kind of done. This looks like it's probably going to be a 2-1 win for the elves.
The Pro Elves have this.
Backgilla did end up winning 1-0 versus the Undead. Literally, pretty much carried by Dribble Snot in the second half.
With the winning touchdown.
Yeah, bomb Dribble Snot not only got the touchdown, but arguing the call to keep him on the field, and the bombs just KOing like a mummy and a white was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Good advert for why we need to increase his price, right? Yeah. So I was going back to the say that issue with orcs. I think specifically UKBBL wise, I think the issues are compounded early in our Blood Bowl 3 time because we don't have those chaos teams, those Nurgle teams, those Necro teams in the Prem, and so I mean we've had I think we've got 5 orc teams. Is that right in the West? In
Four.
Prem West.
Four.
So we've got Goldstacker,
West,
yourself, Andy Davo, Hardcore Stig.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got 4 of them.
Yeah.
So 3 of those are either running away or they're twisting.
Yeah.
But I think you're going to wait until about season 57. I think when you start to see, the likes of Dragonsbane, who we know is a good Necro coach.
I don't think it's going to take that long. But I would have said 55, 56, but that's more or less my
Sorry,
guess.
I'm watching a leaping white. I'm watching Galentio Waldorf, and I'm watching Griff Oberwald just leap over a player and successfully knock down. This is insane.
It won't be a leap, will it? It'll be a jump.
Oh no, it's a jump. You are right. It's a jump over a player. He's knocked down the ball carrier. He's not caught it, but I mean that's okay. They've got no support around there. Griff is something else. He's going to have another go. Unlucky.
Not for you in that area.
Was that 4+ he needs? 4+ I think he needs on a pickup.
It says 5+
minus
in the graphic up top, but I'm not sure.
Oh, sorry, yeah, it does. Oh, because it's raining, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's an unfortunate bounce.
Yeah, I wouldn't have wanted to pick up, but at the same time, it's not like you really had much choice, I don't think.
I mean, you've probably forced to score at this point.
Yeah.
If Griff's going to do that sort of nonsense, you're probably going to give him a score opportunity. So the only person we haven't heard from yet about favourite dead players is Evie. So go on then, your favourite dead player.
So at first I was thinking to myself like, "Ooh, I wonder what player I could say," because I mean, there's obviously a lot of easy picks, but I think I'm kind of on a similar line to Phil here, that nothing quite gives me more joy when I see like this min-maxed dwarf team, and I get just a little cheeky 1 dice on a dwarf runner, and it just pops up dead. I'm just like, wonderful.
I was going to say, like, I think a dwarf runner dying to a fail going for it is probably my second favorite thing.
Oh man, the amount of times I saw in like Blood Bowl 2, a like bull centaur double one into the end zone just die, and it's just like, wow.
I think Corn Knight was speaking about that sort of thing, about the fact that that's kind of a worse death than like elves dying from like go for it, because you expect elves to to die. You expect them to die on with regularity, right?
Yeah, you
But
just breathe on them and they just die, and it's like,
I also
I
think
don't
there's
have the bank to replace that, so well.
I also think it's the
But yeah,
aspect.
when you lose a bull centaur to something you probably shouldn't be doing in the first place, yeah, that's not something you should be very pleased about.
So
But I'm
so
glad we agree.
so I think it's someone who has lost a fair few bulls to specifically that thing. I think the main difference that I find is that you also know how hard it is to build up a new bull. Like, don't get
Yeah,
me wrong, but like a blitzer on any of the Elven teams, give me 3-4 matches and I'll have the first 2 skills at least. Like, it's not that hard to get it replaced. A bull took seasons to build because it just didn't generate that many star player points. So losing one was 140 gold. That's the easy bit, but still expensive, right? But it was the fact that you knew that I'm gonna be struggling for a long time to rebuild this because they don't have
yeah,
block, they don't have break tackle, they don't have sure hands or anything of all these things that is sort of like you at least need to get to that point so you can sort of start building something on it, and that will take me a couple of matches alone to get to the point where I can start building on it reliably, right? And it was just like, and I think the problem with dwarves also playing against them is if I bet you will be able to if you looked up the statistics that you would be able to see how many games against dwarves end in a draw result 0-0 or 1-1. That's not fucking fun. So I think against dwarf there's of course a extra satisfaction in killing dwarves in the sense that at least you get to do that, and at least it had some cost for them of it, right?
Rift's going jumping again.
Yeah,
Is he going jumping again, or is he dodging again? Oh, no, it's a dodge.
let's fail Dutch. That's it.
Well,
I
at
don't
least he's okay.
I don't like the dwarf in the line there.
No, I can understand why Waldorf's put him there because you just want to generate some pressure, and I think
Yeah,
probably what you're thinking is you're trying to force either the ball carrier to throw a block, and in which case it can come up double skulls, or you're trying to force a block with a player who doesn't have block, and you're hoping for 1 in 12. However, if you just commit the number of players that Galentio has done so, that's not going to be a problem, right? And then you can just use the wrestle there. That's well played.
I hope you two don't mind, but I'm going to have to leave it there. It's been awesome being on the stream and answering some questions and having a chat and everything.
No, it's all right. I look forward to doing this again at some point. I think we advertised anyway that they were due until past, so we have gone over our allotted time. So
sure
I wonder, Archangel, whether we actually end the stream there.
I think it might be a good idea.
It's been really good fun, really good fun. I hope anybody watching has had really good fun as well. But I think we've advertised the league. If anyone's listening has not played in the league, got the new season starting up in 3 weeks. You can sign up by posting on the sign up page. I'm pretty sure that we have our Discord link in the Twitch stream. You can find us. You can also find us via Nuffle .xyz. Loads of ways to find us, Facebook, all those sorts of things. So yeah, I'll let Archangel have the final few words.
Yes, I will say thank you to the two of you for joining me and having a fun evening and talking about everything and watching some enjoyable Blood Bowl. I would like to then also make a small plug for the Far Beyond Cup, of course. Hope that a lot of you will be joining us again next season to see.
You can put me down already.
Oh, great. That's going to be great.
So at least two of us are playing.
Electric Vision is also going to be signed up. He just doesn't know it yet.
Good.
I might be signed up. I don't know yet. We'll see what happens.
Are we doing this next week as well? Because it's been such a rip roaring success.
Yeah, I think we'll do sign up starting next week.
No. As in, are we touchdowns and touchbacks, whatever we're calling this. We're doing this next Monday. Okay, cool,
That's the plan at least.
lovely.
It
Cool.
will either just be myself or you two, or some of that in between.
Well, I'm pretty sure we can ask around, but I will be about. So yeah, looking forward to it already.
Cool.
All right, toodle
Evie,
pip,
anything you
everybody.
wanna add at the end?
No,
Uh,
I'm absolutely fine.
we don't we don't.
It's been awesome to be here, and I can't wait to get back to streaming myself at some point.
Yeah,
Hopefully, it's going to be sometime next week. I'm hoping.
cool. That'll be good to get you back on. Make sure you plug us, Evie, because we need new players.
Oh yeah, of course, of course.
Yes, because
You said you'd do anything to help us.
because we clearly don't have enough admin work already. We need more admin work.
Yes, absolutely. I have nothing to do otherwise. So yeah, keep me out of trouble anyway.
Cool.
Lovely. Thanks very much, everybody.
Thanks.
Toodaloos.
Thanks,
Take care.
everybody. Toulouse.
Bye.